All right. We are on April 10th, 2020. This is the Youngbloodpodcast, episode number 6. We made it, guys. We made it to episode 6. To those of you who have actually been listening all the way to episode 6, I really appreciate you. I'm really surprised you're here. Don't go anywhere. Keep on by. Today's a fun episode. This is a kind of a little bit of rule bending here as far as our social distancing goes. I'm having a really good friend of mine today. His name is Colby.
What up?
What's up, Colby? Colby and I, we've been friends since 2000 and I want to say like 18, 19, like 4 years or something like that. 5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
Along those lines. This is kind of going to be a fun little podcast today, so thanks for checking in. It's going to be laid back. We're going to kind of go over a couple of the things we're going through with the coronavirus. I know it's really getting tired of hearing about that shit. I'm getting really tired of being on lockdown. I don't know about you guys, but Colby, how are you feeling with this situation?
Well, I mean, it's not affecting me as hard as other people. I went from 3 jobs to 1 job, so I mean, I guess you could say I'm still doing a lot better than a lot of the community. But me and my girlfriend live together, and that's actually not bad at all. I know a lot of people were worried about being around their significant others for too long, being in each other's throats, but we've got a really great relationship because we actually talk a lot of shit to each other in a fun way, and so I think that is what keeps us from fighting a lot, so we kind of get our aggression out that way.
I mean, I can see how everybody's kind of joking about this shit really making... Hold on, guys. Let me stop my chair from squeaking there. That's a little better. Everybody's been joking a lot about people breaking up and shit. I've actually only had one close friend where I've seen something of that. And I'm lucky enough to be single through all this. I don't know if you want to say lucky, but I consider myself to be lucky. Let's just say, though, the first person that I do end up hooking up with after this quarantine, they're gonna get it. They're gonna fucking get it.
I expect none less, man.
Honestly, I'm jealous for them. I'm jealous of that person.
Oh, yeah?
I'm jealous of that person because they're gonna fucking get it.
Pretty high up on your horse there, bud.
I mean, dude, I've never been in a quarantine like this. Like,
who has?
Nobody. That's new.
I mean, they didn't even quarantine swine flu is bad. Swine flu killed way more people.
It's weird. I personally do know I have one buddy that I actually, talked to, and I hit him up to hang out, or he hit me up to hang out. And this was, a month ago. He hits me up. He's like, yo, dude, fucking, what are you doing, bro? Let's get together. I'm really learning who all your true homies are through this quarantine experience and shit. And I'm just like, what do you mean? Nobody wants to kick it or what? And he's like, no, nobody wants to hang out right now. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I'm busy today with work, but we can fucking get together sometime soon, And he's like, yeah, man, next week. And I followed up with him, and I'm like, yo, dude, you want to kick it still? And he's like, actually, bro. Or I said, hey, bro, how's your quarantine going? He's like, actually, really shitty. I got the coronavirus. And I was like, damn, bro. How? And this kid's young, he's a college freshman or some shit like that. And last time I actually did see him in person, I think it was at the Jaws show. And, he's 20 years old and he's in a frat at PSU and shit. And that to me just kind of shows that it's going around Boise State.
Oh, yeah.
He's the only freshman that I know and fuck with and talk to on a somewhat regular basis. And he's the only one I know, and the only one I know has it.
Yeah.
So that to me, maybe if I had another couple freshman friends, maybe they might have had it too.
I think I know probably about 4 people who've gotten it, maybe. But
oh, you do?
Yeah, nobody that I'm super close with or hang out with regularly, but I do know a couple of people who have had it, or who have it, or have had it,
Were they our age group, your parents' friends?
Mostly our age group. One that was older, but what's weird is that at the beginning of the year, I've talked to a lot of people that at the beginning of the year had really bad coughs or had really bad sickness, you know, and they just got over it.
Right.
And one person, my girlfriend actually knows, and she went and got tested for coronavirus, and they're like, well, you don't have coronavirus, but you have the antibodies. So you have had coronavirus. And she was like, I was sick at the beginning of the year.
They can do that test where they can tell if you're immune to it now.
Yeah, well, I don't think you get immune to it. I've heard after...
It's immune for up to a year.
Yeah, I've heard after you get it, you can get it again.
Right.
But she definitely had the antibodies that showed that she's had it in her system.
Speaking of coronavirus, there's somebody driving by that has it right now, probably.
Which is just crazy because, you know, I had a bad cough at the beginning of the year. I know a bunch of people who did, and it seems like it wasn't even a point of talking like at the beginning of the year about it. Nobody knew much about it.
Did you see Jared Kissling's post on Facebook about that? Actually, he posted something that said, has anybody like had a really bad cough or is guilty of like coronavirus symptoms that may have had it like towards the beginning of this year? And I read the feed, and there was a fuckload of people, dude, that are just like, yeah, dude, I think I might have had it at the beginning of the year. And when my dad even got tested for it, my dad took fucking 10 days to hear back. Like, it was fucking ridiculous. Like, 10 days to get results on a test like this. Like, granted, he didn't go into the hospital for coronavirus symptoms. He went into the hospital because he got stomach poisoning and fucking threw up a shitload and didn't drink any water. You know?
Yeah.
So, that's why, to me, like, I feel like these numbers are really inaccurate is because I personally know somebody in my own household who had to go get a test. And I didn't go to work until he got those results back. I was waiting on those results before I went to work. And it was fucking 10 days, dude, you know? And that's, like, mainly I think a lot of that has to do is with his, like, non-priority case. He wasn't somebody that was symptomatic or was exposed to people that had it or had been traveling. Like, he hadn't had any of those aspects. So I could see maybe if he was like fucking asthmatic and dying in there, they would have given him a better quality test maybe, because I think they have a few different levels.
I've only heard it two. The one that takes forever to get results back, and then there's, I believe, a machine that takes a little bit of your blood and can tell you or give you a false or a positive or negative in 15 minutes. But I heard the only places that were getting those were like veterans homes, like the veterans home here in Boise, because I guess it's a really new technology. They were limited on it. They're supposed to test it for like months before they actually put it out there, but due to circumstances, you know, they just pushed out as many machines as they could, and they're like, you guys are the test, you know, you are the guinea pig for this.
Did you hear, speaking of guinea pigs, cats can get it? So
big tigers.
Yeah, there's the big cats. Speaking of tigers and like Tiger King and shit, I don't know what zoo it was, but
Bronx.
The Bronx and so the cat in New York got it. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, which is it. I think they proved that dogs couldn't get it.
They haven't.
Or they just haven't had it confirmed.
I heard today, this morning, I was listening to the news on that exact thing, because that's where I heard the thing about the cat. They hadn't confirmed if dogs can get it, but there haven't been any confirmed cases.
It's been in 2 different species of animals, at least, that we know of now. You know, it started in bats, and now it's in cats. Now, another thing is that this virus has mutated like 3 or 4 times since it has...
The jump.
Yeah, and that's scary, you know, because who knows where it's gonna,
you have a fucking dog. You've got a giant husky. I've got my big dog. Like, I don't know about you, but for me, I don't keep him my social distancing isn't just for me. Like, if I'm walking my fucking dog, I don't let him go up to people at all, you know, and that's not because I'm afraid of him to get it. Now it kind of, speaking of, that's him whining in the room because I locked him in there. I don't want him to get the disease, or I don't want people's germs from them touching him to then come over to me after, you know, so it sucks. Like, my dog is a super cool dog, but I can't let people pet him. I'm gonna grab him.
Word.
Come on, pal. You can hang out with us now.
Yeah, that's been a thought of mine is like how contagious is it just from somebody touching like your dog even per se, or I don't know.
Well, what I heard, and this was like fucking 3 weeks ago, like this data is forever changing. It is constantly being updated. It's so hard to keep up with. What I heard is like if somebody comes and touches the table, somebody else 24 hours later can come and touch that same table and contract the disease if that person who touched it first had it.
I think 24 hours is the max. I think it can live on a surface for 24 hours. And I think it could live in the air, like surrounding air for so long.
Me wonder, I'm not a fucking scientist. I don't know any scientists. I could probably, hey Jamie, you want to pull it up? No, I don't got a guy sitting here on fucking Google that can just pull it up. But if I did, I would have him check and see, do UV rays make a difference? Because I saw a guy at Camel's Back Park, fucking the balls on this fucking dude, literally, and he's the kind of guy too, bro, like, he's big as a motherfucker, and he has a giant dog who's just sitting there off leash watching him work out. Speaking of, Gatsby, come here, buddy. Never mind. I guess you don't love me. He got his giant dog, so you know the second you walk up to this guy and have an issue with what he's doing, it's going to be a fucking issue. You know, he just bleeds that persona, you know? But this fucking dude's got his shirt off, working out at the gym at Camel's Back, around the caution tape. Like, he's literally using machines that are covered in caution tape with his shirt off in the middle of a pandemic. And I'm sitting there staring at this fucking dude just like, really, man? Like, is that fucking necessary in any way, shape, and form? Like, you gotta do that? Like, that's... I know you're probably not sick. I know you gotta get your swole on, but fuck, bro, do it at home. Like, that's just blatant.
There's plenty you can do from home. That would be a stupid excuse to say that you can't just do something from home. And yeah, I mean, I don't think, you know, that's his choice. Whatever, fuck him. If he wants to be irresponsible and possibly contract it like that, well, that's his
spread
own.
it. Spread it too is more of the big deal. It's
but
not
that's
about
the thing is,
sick.
Nobody should be using that. There's caution tape all over it. So if you're gonna be that asshole that still tries to go and use it, you know, like whatever, man. Fuck.
Get this
that,
though.
Man.
The next day, I gets me. The next day, I'm sitting at the park again, waiting for my fucking ride, watching the same thing happen. Different guy, but this guy was at least courteous enough not to use the machines. He just kind of did his aerobics in the circle around the stuff, which is okay. That's cool. You know, I could see that a little bit more than just blatantly using the machines with caution tape on it. Because it's not about, like, this guy getting sick or him getting sick. It's kind of just about, like, the public image. You know, like, bro, you're at a fucking park. There's kids around. Just set an example. We're supposed to be doing this as a community, as one whole fucking country. And then there's assholes like fucking that guy that just come up and fucking pull that. You know, so that to me just kind of, I was like, all right, dude, that's kind of lame. Like, just do it at home.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know about, you said something about UV rays. I don't know what that would have to do with it, but I know.
If UV rays and sunlight, like, let's say a table in the shade versus a table in the sun.
Oh.
Somebody touches it that has it, the table in the shade has the virus for longer than the table that was sitting in the sun because maybe the UV rays kill the virus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know coronavirus has a harder time living in hotter temperatures, and so it's definitely going to help with the airborne aspect of it, and I've heard it's been slowing down. I heard like 2 days ago it's been slowing down since. Who knows how accurate that is, though, you know?
Right,
People are full of shit. But I know with it getting warmer, it should be slowing down, and I've always been curious, too, because you're supposed to maintain 6 feet. So does that mean the air surrounds you in 6 feet any direction could be contaminated? And then, you know, how much farther does that go? And anything that is within 6 feet, you know, material-wise, a table, a chair, anything that's within 6 feet, does that have a chance of getting, you know, contaminated? Just
is this social distancing really doing anything? Or are we already so far fucked that this process of fucking quarantining and social distancing is not going to slow down the peak any more than it's already going to go? I don't know. Who's to say? Especially when the fucking data that we're getting and the data we have is data from 2 weeks ago. You know, nothing's live. Nothing is up to date. Nothing is in the moment. It's all just kind of speculatory. You know, it's all as it happens. And you know, personally, I didn't think I'd be out of work much at all being a tile guy, and then I didn't think about my supply shops. I was like, oh yeah, dude, you know, fucking, I have plenty of work worked out for tile, and then I ran out of tile on one of my jobs. That the tile was already delivered, it was already ready to go. I had to special order a product. Fuck me, that was really fucking shitty. Right now, trying to special order anything with this fucking pandemic, nah, it took 2 weeks, dude.
Well, and I mean, I'm a roofer and project manager, so I have to end up running to Lowe's and Home Depot to get extra stuff all the time for roofing jobs and remodels. And every single time I've gone to Home Depot or Lowe's in the past 3 weeks, it has been packed. There was one day I spent an hour in Lowe's, 30 minutes in the customer service line, and then 30 minutes waiting for somebody to get my shit off the shelf. And, dude, there were families of fucking 5 walking in, bullshitting over
How long
grills.
ago was this?
This would have been 2 weekends ago. And then I went last weekend, too. Home Depot was only letting so many people in the store at a time. They were counting one out, letting one in.
Yeah, that's what I see. The Home Depot right here, they've got this gnarly line fucking set up outside the door. One door open.
Lowe's isn't doing that.
Oh,
so,
that's good to know.
But it was Home Depot that I went to 2 weeks ago that was just slam packed. But now every time I go to Lowe's, it's slam packed. You know, and I'm out there trying to get stuff for a job the guys are working on, so I got to be quick. I don't have time to stand in this line. I got to go to the one that's, you know, quicker. But I don't know. It's just
no, for real. That makes a huge an hour versus 2 hours. You work 8 hours in a day. If you're at the store for 2.5 fucking hours.
The guys are going to be sitting there not working.
Exactly.
You know, they're going to get held up. They're going to get to a point they can't do anything else. But
did you know? So this stimulus check doesn't apply if you're on probation.
What?
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yep. And I'm on probation. I cannot. So I'm told. My good friend, his name's Shane Rohr. He owns a business too. He works out here. He works for Window World, and he's a subcontractor. He's been a good friend of mine for years. I'm actually going to have him on the show here, I think, next week. He was talking to his accountant, and his accountant said that anybody who's a felon, who is on probation, who's been in trouble with the law, those are the first ones to be disqualified.
Well, that blows.
And don't quote me on it. I am not a fucking source. That's just what I heard.
Well, even if you are a felon, you're still paying taxes, so what the fuck does that have to do with anything? That'd be bullshit.
I think if you're a past felon and you've already served your probation and it's in the past, you'll be fine. But if you're still on probation for it, I don't know if you qualify. And that's because my homie, he's on unsupervised probation right now for like a DUI he got like years ago. A felony DUI or something like that. I don't know what he got. I can't say. So he's not on full supervised probation.
Yeah.
And he said his accountant told him he's not going to get shit. And he said the same thing to me. He's like, hey, buddy, I got some news for you. And I'm like, what? He's like, he ain't getting shit. I'm like, why? He's like, sorry, buddy, I talked to my accountant. I'm not getting nothing. You're not getting nothing. Any of your friends on probation aren't getting nothing. I was just like, well, I can see it, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Because, dude, like that for me was kind of a big deal. I don't know about you. I was kind of not relying on it, but hoping I was going to get it. I was pretty convinced I was going to get it. I wasn't relying on it, but I was pretty sure it was coming.
Who wouldn't have wanted that? You know, like, it would have helped anybody out, you know, even the ones that are still doing better or worse. But, right. I mean, like, just like you, man, I'm not relying on it. I've got it all. I've got enough saved away to get me through it, and between me and my girlfriend, we'll be good. But she went from one job to no job, and then found some just like part-time work. So it really would have helped her out more than me. She should still get it though.
Oh yeah, so. For sure. Well, that's the stimulus check. I'm not sure if that applies to the stimulus check. He was talking about the business loan too. So I know for sure if you're trying to get a small business loan and you're the owner of the company and you have any priors, you don't get it. So I don't know if that applies to the stimulus check too. So it's more based on business owners and stuff.
Oh.
So I forgot to put that in there.
Yeah,
I left that part out. But so I might still get a stimulus check. Maybe. I don't fucking know. I'm not a financial expert.
Yeah.
I just know that right now, me going to work is the only thing that I know is going to keep me paying my bills. And thank fucking God that I am an essential employee.
Yeah.
Because, well, Wuhan, apparently, I don't know how accurate this is, and I don't know how much of the restrictions they actually lifted, but apparently Wuhan's opened back up.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that? It's completely fucking, they're starting to lift travel restrictions. They are no longer banning non-essential work, so if you had a job that was non-essential, it is now back up and running. And that's in Wuhan. So I don't know how legit that is, if those are just clickbait ads. I don't know, like, it's hard to fucking say how opened up it really is again. But that does put some light on the situation, you know?
Like, it could be, well, I did hear it was going to come and leave it was going to leave as quick as it came, you know? And
We haven't hit our peak, though.
You don't think so? I heard it was slowing down, though, especially with it getting warmer.
It was slowing down, yes.
I guess
our numbers in Idaho, especially, so as of 2 days ago, I read an article that said for 3 days straight, so I don't know if it's 5 days now, but it said for 3 days straight, Idaho had record-breaking low numbers for 3 days in a row. I don't know if it started to increase again. I haven't really checked on it. Like I said, this virus moves so fucking fast that keeping updated on it is near impossible unless all you do all fucking, like, I worked all day today, you know? If I did do that, there's no way in hell I can keep up on this virus. But when I was sitting at home all day, it was a full day just reading up on this shit, especially having a podcast. Like, that's also why I'm veering away from being a news podcast. Like, I don't give a fuck about the news. It's more about, like, I do, like, in a sense, like, it's nice to know, it's good to know, and, like, one thing I can definitely say is this podcast has opened up different doors to conversations I wouldn't have with people if I didn't have the show. Like, the first 5 people I've had on, I had an hour-long conversation with somebody that, fuck, I wouldn't have called somebody and had them on my show to talk about current events and, like, what's going on unless I was doing this podcast. And that, to me, is what's been really cool, because it's also really kept me up to date and, like, really on what's going on, you know? And normally I wouldn't give a fuck. I would just be sitting in my apartment like, oh, well, I'm not doing anything different other than just sitting at home, which I do all the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think you should be a news podcast because,
no.
I mean, there's just so much biased, like, biased feelings in the news and opinions, and I don't know. You'd have to get everything from a very reputable source.
I wouldn't. There's no way in hell I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
And, well, it sucks because I was getting right into being, like, in stand-up and shit, and I found a bar that I was gonna start doing. I was working on a bit. I found a bar I wanted to do my open mic at. It was at the not the Hawaii, but the tavern right here, the North Side Tavern or East Side Tavern.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just that little shithole bar over there, and then
dope
it was
spot though.
Yeah, super dope spot. But I liked it because it was my end of town. Not a lot of people I know go there. It's kind of more low key. So doing open mic there would be, I wouldn't run into anybody I know. I could just have I could do a few weekends there, you know, and get comfortable, work on my bit a little bit, and then from there fucking move over to Liquid and start doing open mic there. But, you know, I had to start a podcast just because they don't really have a big like, I don't see a future in stand-up for the next couple months.
Well,
because
not
of this.
for the next couple months.
Yeah, not longer than that. But I mean, like, the next thing for me was I've been writing, but my next thing was to start hitting the stage. You know what I mean? That was my next progression. Like, I've been working on my bits. I've been writing a ton.
Yeah.
And at this point, the only thing I had left to do was start.
Well, you know what you could do, though, is you could do, like, a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live or something, and people can give you instant feedback there. You know, people can click laughing emojis
that too,
and shit.
but, like, when you have a bit, it's one of those things, like, you're better to work it at a bar or at a comedy club, because it's one of the stupidest things that people can do when you say that you work on stand-up or that you're a comedian is somebody tells you to say a joke. When somebody says, or I'm like, hey, yeah, I work on I write comedy, like, tell me a joke. I'm like, actually, well, when I go do my bits, like, I've been working on it for a while. When I go do my bit, come check it out.
Yeah.
You know, you can see it there. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's I spend fucking hours. There's art behind it. There's writing behind it. There's structure. There's things that like, there's a build up. There's a punch. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of fucking things that people don't know that goes into it that I want to personally dial in, you know, in a certain way. And it was cool that I was able to start the podcast because I kept telling myself, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to start a podcast. Oh, I wasn't fucking doing it though.
Yeah.
You know, nobody gives a shit about what you're going to do.
Execution is
yeah,
key.
Nobody gives a fucking shit.
90% of people can't do it.
Yeah, nobody cares at all about what you're going to do. People care about what you've done.
Yeah.
You know, and now I can say I've started a podcast. None of this fucking, I'm going to start a podcast or I'm working on a podcast. Nah, I started a podcast. It's the Youngbloodpodcast. And, you know, me and fucking Colby, we could sit here and talk about it all day. But we've been going now for 25 minutes. Yeah. Right on. We can talk all day about a lot of fucking things, and I'm sure I'm going to have him on again, but we're probably going to have to wrap it up there. Colby, is there anything else that you want to throw in on this before we wrap it up?
Stop listening to the media with the coronavirus shit. It's bullshit. Everybody's freaking out way too much, but there's clear guidelines for how to do it safely and still, you know, be in social settings. I see too many people having anxiety attacks and depression, and they're going to come out of this like really, really hurt. But I don't know. I would just do your research and then do what you can with the knowledge you have. You know, you don't have to stay holed up inside all day, you know, just killing yourself inside. Just don't be ignorant. Do your research.
Right. And still, man, be there for one another, guys. It's social distancing. It's not social go fuck yourself. You know, like, yeah, you can give yourself 6 feet from the other person next to you, but you can still smile at them. You know, you can still live your life. They can live theirs. You know, we don't got to hate each other. Right now, it's really important that we all pull together and just kind of pull through this. It's a national crisis, guys. You know? Again, Colby, it was a fucking blast having you on. We are on Apple. We are on Spotify, YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button. Again, Youngbloodpodcast, all one word, no spaces. Hit it up on any of those platforms. I would really appreciate the downloads. And if you did watch this episode, guys, thanks for checking in. And that's it, guys. It's another episode.